Welcome to Music Discovery. This series is about listening closely to albums that reveal something deeper the more attention we give them. Today we're exploring Sad Wings of Destiny by Judas Priest, released on this date in 1976. I'm not sure when I first heard this album. Growing up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s, metal and hard rock were huge. We had homegrown bands such as Van Halen and Motley Crue, and the famous US festivals of the early 1980s, which featured memorable performances by Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest, among others. As I grew up, Judas Priest, and this album in particular, have stayed with me. Sad Wings of Destiny is Judas Priest's second album, but it's really the first to feature their signature sound of memorable riffs and singer Rob Halford's operatic vocals. Many well-known metal musicians have cited the album as a major influence. At this time, in early 1976, heavy metal wasn't really even a thing yet. The heavy rock landscape was Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Queen, amongst others. And while Sabbath's heavy riffs definitely set the stage, with this album Judas Priest offered something quite unique. Something which paved the way for later metal artists such as Iron Maiden, Slayer, Metallica, and others. Sad Wings of Destiny is a highly symphonic and operatic album that kicks some ass. But before I talk about the album, I need to mention something peculiar about the ordering of the album. When it was released, sides 1 and 2 were switched. Looking at the album artwork, what was listed as side 1, Prelude, Tyrant, Genocide, Epitaph, and Island of Domination, were put on side 2, while the tracks that made up side 2, Victim of Changes, The Ripper, Dreamer, Deceiver, and Deceiver, were on side 1. Most reissues have followed this same formatting, and I believe it really interferes with the arc of the album. So if you decide to listen to this album for yourself, and I really hope you do, because it has so much to offer, please listen to it in the order Prelude through Island of Domination, then Victim of Changes through Deceiver. Now onto the music. The album's opener, if you go by the ordering listed on the record sleeve, is Prelude. Prelude sets the stage with piano, some orchestral drum rolls, melodic guitars, and organ. It's the beginning of a musical suite. The next track, Tyrant, is a good, riff-driven, classic heavy metal song. Next, Genocide starts off as a groove and rock song, but builds over time in heaviness and aggression. Epitaph is a piano and vocal-only oddity for a heavy metal album, but it's quite a beautiful, moving, and philosophical song, and I recommend listening closely to the lyrics. Some notable Queen influence here with the piano and vocal harmonies. Closing out this side of the album and the musical suite, Island of Domination takes us back to hard rock with riffs and driving rhythm. This is classic Judas Priest and one of the strongest tracks on the album. Definitely a track for headphones as well, as the multiple guitar and vocal tracks are treated spatially in the mix. In addition to singer Rob Halford's high-pitched wailing, listen for his growling delivery at the ends of lines in the second verse and second chorus. At 2 minutes 29 seconds, the pace settles down to a slow, heavy, groovy riff. The song ends with a repeating echo. Now on to the other side. The next 4 tracks are some of the best music ever written, performed, and recorded, and I invite you to listen with open ears. Victim of Changes is one of their most classic songs of all time. Just listen to that opening. And it keeps going from there. I recommend to just sit back and listen to the unfolding guitars and soaring vocal delivery. At about 4 minutes 42 seconds, there's a beautiful slower breakdown. The timbre of the guitars in this section, plus the vocal range and clarity, are just breathtaking. At 6 minutes 33 seconds, things become heavy once again, and after a guitar solo, things build up until the end. In the description to this video, I'll include a link to a performance of this track from 1983's US Festival. The Ripper is yet another classic. It's the story of Jack the Ripper. Just listen closely. The guitars, vocals, driving bass, and drums. This entire album rewards attentive listening. The last 2 tracks, Dreamer, Deceiver, and Deceiver, flow together. Dreamer Deceiver is an ethereal, beautiful, multifaceted gem. Rob Halford really shows off his range and the unique timbres of his voice, and the guitars provide a beautiful and haunting soundtrack. Get lost in the lengthy solos before the track leads directly into Deceiver. Back to riff-driven rock, or should we say metal? Does it even matter what we call it? Deceiver is unrelenting until the end, when the outro takes us back to Dreamer Deceiver. I honestly believe that if you are a music fan, you will get something out of listening closely to this album, even if you don't listen to heavy metal. This is a rich classic album, and it deserves to be celebrated on the 50th anniversary of its release. If you haven't heard this album before, I encourage you to spend some time with it. And if you have, I'd love to hear what you notice when you listen again.